accusation.
Do you know what the definition of treason is?
Who are you accusing of treason?
No, I'm asking questions. Do you know what the definition
I get to ask questions.
Is?
You don't get to dictate that.
Who
are you accusing of treason,
sir? Do you know what the definition of treason
Who
is?
are you accusing of treason?
Oh, you really have no idea.
Who are you accusing of treason?
That's exactly what Canadians want to hear.
Who are you accusing of treason?
What's the definition of treason, Minister?
If you are going to accuse somebody of treason in this country, that is a reprehensible thing to do, and I would ask that you name who you are accusing of treason. I do not need to answer your questions, but you need to answer mine. What is the definition of treason? Do you have any idea? Well, I'd be curious. You name somebody as being treasonous, so who are they, and what's your definition?
I asked you what the definition of treason is. Do you know what it is?
Betraying your country.
No, that's not it. It is actually, very simply, knowingly communicating military or scientific information or documents to an agent of a state other than Canada with the intention of jeopardizing the safety or defense of Canada.
So,
did that happen at this lab?
In neither you nor I are a lawyer, but you and I would both know that calling somebody something like a...
You know what, Minister? You're not a doctor, but you made a whole bunch of claims today that are non-scientific.
But naming somebody,
well.
saying that somebody is a...
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Alberta News and Views. Yesterday, during the subject matter of Supplementary Estimates Committee, Dr. Stephen Ellis, he is a Conservative MP, he grilled Mark Holland, who is the Liberal Minister of Health, grilled him over the Winnipeg lab document leaks. Now, this whole thing with the Winnipeg lab documents would be enough to topple a government in any serious country easily. What I'm going to show you is just Dr. Stephen Ellis, but this whole committee was just off the charts crazy, talking about investigation into Health Canada. Yes, Health Canada is being investigated as well. And the Winnipeg lab documents. And the best part is when they talk about treason. Now, this is a rough cut, so it's going to seem like I'm cutting in and out, but it's just time stamped, so bear with me. Here we go. This is crazy.
We're now going to proceed with rounds of questions, starting with the Conservatives. Dr. Ellis for 6 minutes, please.
Well, thank you very much, Chair. And Dr. Lucas, thank you for your service to this country. We all appreciate it. And we wish you well in your retirement as well. Fabulous. Chair, through you, if I could, Minister, who is the minister in charge and responsible, I'll use that term perhaps better, for the Public Health Agency of Canada?
That would be me.
That would be you. Excellent. When was the first red flag raised about the two scientists at the National Microbiology Lab in Winnipeg?
Well, the first time that it would have come to my attention would have been as a parliamentarian, going back to the debates we had in the House. At the time, I would have been whip. Of course, government House leaders.
Just the date, Minister. I don't need a story.
I wouldn't recall the exact date. It would have been around that period of time when it was, 2018, 2019, that kind of time. I was a parliamentarian. I was a whip at the time.
So what you're telling this committee is that before that time there were no red flags raised about two scientists at the National Microbiology Lab who turned out to probably and most likely be foreign agents.
Well, no, I was saying at the time, that's when it came to my attention, I was the whip. If you'll indulge me, I can turn to Heather Jeffrey, who can tell from a PHAC perspective.
Just a date, please, Ms. Jeffrey.
The first concerns were raised in September, October 2018.
September, October 2018. And was it the discovery of the DSO of a patent registered in China that raised that red flag, or what was the cause of that, Minister?
Well, again, I'll turn it to...
You really have no clue.
Well, no. First of all...
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Jeffrey, what's the answer to that? Was it the discovery of the patent?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that was the first evidence.
Very good. When we look at that, it's interesting, though, isn't it, that China requested samples to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and then the day after that, is it not true that Dr. Chu then traveled to China?
Look, I think that at the time,
I didn't ask you about what time it was. I asked you, is it true that the
Well, it depends on whether or not you want an answer.
Excuse me, Minister, please.
I appreciate that you have a line of questioning that you want to, but if
Chair,
I'm not able
is
to
this
answer...
the type of answer that we're going to
Okay,
get
well,
from
I'm
the
not able to
minister
answer
as
his
we did
question in the
before
time
with
that
this
has been provided.
continuous interrupting
I'm not
from
able
him,
to answer the question
knowing
in the
that
time
full well
provided.
it's my time to ask questions and not his? Is that what we're going to have here today, Chair?
Go ahead with your question, Dr.
Thank you very
Ellis.
much.
Please let him finish his question, Minister.
So, is it the day after that the Wuhan Institute of Virology asked for samples that then this agency run by yourself, you clearly admit that, then allowed a scientist to go to that actual Institute of Virology? Is that true or not?
Well, I disagree with your characterization, and if given the opportunity, and clearly I'm not, I would be able to provide context and be able to answer your question. But
well, it's a very simple question.
But I disagree with the way you're characterizing the information, and I don't think it's a fair either reflection of the circumstance.
Okay, how about this then, Minister? Think about this. Red flags were raised. The Wuhan Institute of Virology asked for samples of perhaps two of the most dangerous pathogens in the world, Ebola and Henipavirus. And then a scientist from a lab under your direction then went to China. Is that true or not?
What is true is
are the facts there or not?
What is true is that at that moment in time, we were collaborating with China on, viruses like Ebola. It was part of an international effort to try to ensure human safety. And two Canadians,
Minister,
the two Canadians that you're referring to,
for a scientist who has red flag raised in their activities to then travel to a place who has requested dangerous pathogens from our lab.
I don't think it's okay that the two Canadian citizens...
Well, you're justifying it. Is it okay or not?
I'm saying that the two Canadians that you're referring to, who are eminent scientists, who are well published in North America...
Through you, Chair. Minister, they're eminent scientists. Where are they now?
Mr. Chair, I don't understand how this works. Am I afforded the opportunity to speak, or is this...
No, this is absolutely ridiculous. Where are those two scientists now, Minister? Where are they?
So...
Where are they?
Okay, look, I don't have no idea where the two scientists are.
You have no idea? Do you
of
not
course,
read
I don't
the
track them. I don't suspect that you know. That's the job of the RCMP. I'm not law enforcement. But I think if you would afford me the opportunity to speak...
Are they living under assumed names at the current time?
Look, there's a mirror over there if you want to talk to it. If you're interested in talking to me, afford me the opportunity to speak.
I don't need your smart mouth answers. What I need is you to answer the questions that I'm asking you, not your smart aleck answers. Are we going to see the bombast that we had from you last time?
Mr. Chair,
and your petulant behavior? Is that what we're going to see?
I've been not able to get a sentence out without interruption.
Well, you refuse to answer the questions, Minister. That's your problem.
That's your interpretation, and you're welcome to it.
No, that's the truth.
But not allowing me to speak,
so, Minister,
I don't understand.
Where are those two scientists now? Where are they? Do you know or not? Simple.
They're rightfully, it matters as to where they are. An investigation is a matter for law enforcement,
What's
not
the
for a
answer
minister
to the
of
question?
health. A minister of health is not responsible for law enforcement.
Do you know or do you not?
Why would I know where they are?
So the answer then is no, you have no clue.
Why would I have any clue where they are?
Right, you have no clue. That's very clear. Do you know that they're living under assumed names in China?
Look,
Yes or no? These are simple questions. Do you know or do you not?
I'm not involved with law enforcement.
I didn't ask if you're involved with law enforcement.
I don't know what you're getting at. I don't have any involvement with law enforcement.
I never asked you if you knew what I was getting at. What I asked you is, do you know that these two scientists are living under assumed names in China? Do you know or not?
I have heard media reports that might be the case, but I am not involved in law enforcement, and it is not up to me to assert the veracity or whether or not those statement is true. I think it's a fundamental misunderstanding of the role of a minister of the Crown.
That would be excellent.
Yeah. Thank you.
So if you're thinking that Stephen Ellis is a bully, and he is doing that, and the reason he's doing that is because this is a very, very serious issue. This is actually by definition treason, and we're going to get into that. And what he is doing is he's showing how a liberal minister in Canada, the top tier, overlooking the health of Canadians, can't even take the time to figure out what happened. He has no clue, which shows he is incompetent and extremely irresponsible. We expect you to be above all of that, to do a good job. That's why you get hired to do it. Seriously, this liberal government and the way things are is just a testament of the times and how productivity in Canada is an absolute free fall and nobody wants to work here. They don't. They don't want to work either. They're just waiting to get their pension. So continuing on, check this out. It gets better.
I will completely reject and disagree with what you said at the beginning.
Very clearly that the
Thank
We
you.
need to continue to work on that while we work through the concerns of industry, and that's precisely
Thank
what
you.
we've been doing.
Thank you, Minister. Dr. Ellis, please, for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you very much, Chair. You know, Minister, you've been very careless with your use of the truth here today, and that's very sad on behalf of Canadians. When we know very clearly that the president of PHAC was called to the bar of the House of Commons, we know that your government, your Liberal government, took the Speaker to court to prevent these documents from coming to light, and we also know that your government called a COVID election to prevent these documents from coming to light. So your application is reckless, it's careless on behalf of Canadians, which is what sadly we've come to expect from you, not to mention you've been exceedingly careless with the truths that you have expounded on a multitude of other topics today. So that being said, who is accountable for this egregious breach of security? Who is it?
Well, in the first order, I will completely reject and disagree with what you said at the beginning. The dispute that occurred within the House of Commons was that the government at the day, which was our government, said that this matter could be, all the documents could be seen at NSI COP. And the position of Parliament was they wanted to table drop national security documents. So we can't let that happen. Carelessly treating national security documents would have profound implications for our Five Eyes partners. Now, we de-escalated that, as you will recall, by me suggesting that we have an ad hoc process with a group of panels and arbiters that could independently review those documents and make them available. Everything that I said to the letter is true. You saying something isn't true, well, an interesting, rhetorical device doesn't make it true.
Well, thank you very much, Minister, and obviously the same is true for you. The facts speak for themselves, considering the fact that you don't even know what's in the documents. So who is accountable? Who is it for this mess?
Who's accountable? I'm accountable.
You are. Excellent. Who will you hold to account at PHAC?
I believe PHAC acted in a way always in the highest order.
Who will you hold to account?
I have looked at the situation,
and
I believe PHAC handled the situation.
Who is it?
Me.
Who at PHAC? Who's going to lose their job over this?
Nobody.
Nobody. So there is an act of treason, and of course treason is defined in the Criminal Code of Canada as the sharing of military or scientific information
Who are you
with
accusing
an
of
agent
treason?
of a foreign state.
Who are you accusing of treason?
Listen, I'm not here for you to ask
If you're going to
questions.
accuse somebody of treason, you're absolutely going to answer for it. Who are you accusing of treason, sir?
Who are you accusing
of treason?
To make this committee bow down.
You can't accuse somebody of treason and not name them. That's totally irresponsible.
I'm here to ask the questions, and you're here to answer them, which you continue to refuse to do. So this is actually a point of privilege if you don't want to answer the questions. Is that how you want to do this?
What I want to be able to do is understand who you just accused of treason, sir. That's an incredibly awful accusation.
Do you know what the definition of treason is?
Who are you accusing of treason?
No, I'm asking questions. Do you know what the definition of treason is?
I get to ask questions. You don't get to dictate that. Who are you accusing of treason, sir? Who are you accusing of treason?
Oh, you really have no idea.
Who are you accusing of treason?
That's exactly what Canadians want to hear.
Who are you accusing of treason?
What's the definition of treason, Minister?
If you are going to accuse somebody of treason in this country, that is a reprehensible thing to do, and I would ask that you name who you are accusing of treason.
Your questions, but you need to answer mine. What is the definition of treason? Do you have any idea?
Well, I'd be curious. You name somebody as being treasonous, so who are they, and what's your definition?
I asked you what the definition of treason is. Do you know what it is?
Betraying your country.
No, that's not it. It is actually, very simply, knowingly communicating military or scientific information or documents to an agent of a state other than Canada with the intention of jeopardizing the safety or defense of Canada.
So
did that happen at this lab?
In neither you nor I are a lawyer, but you and I would both know that calling somebody something like a...
You know what, Minister? You're not a doctor, but you made a whole bunch of claims today that are non-scientific.
But naming somebody, saying that somebody is a traitor... Okay, is a very serious accusation, and I would say that it's normally a matter that would be determined by courts.
Yeah.
And so I'm asking, I had asked you who you would...
You don't know what the definition is, Minister. You have no idea. You're clueless.
Well, that's your characterization, and I don't know that. I think you felt that.
You're permissive.
But sir, you felt that way before you met me. You're so blinded by your partisanship, you would have thought that about me before you even spoke to me.
No, you've actually proven it today that you don't know the facts of your file. That's the worst part.
I don't know what the purpose is.
Excuse me. Retreat to your corners for a second. Go ahead, Mr. Nackvey.
I just really fail to see the line of questioning from the member opposite. What I find it even more disappointing is the constant name calling that he has taken, and I've let it go for a few times, but that does not advance a thoughtful, rational questioning. He's got legitimate questions that he wants to ask, but he can ask them in a manner that are to the point and factual beside calling names.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nakvi. I'm inclined to agree, Dr. Ellis. You're absolutely entitled to ask aggressive questions, but there's no place for insults. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I would say I have about 30 seconds left. I think pointing out to Canadians that this minister doesn't know his file, that he's reckless and permissive and lax with security, I think that that's absolutely accurate and adequate.
Absolutely.
So the question here is then, what you're telling Canadians is that no one will be held accountable for an egregious breach of security, sending talent and information and abilities to a foreign hostile power. Is that true, sir?
Canadian citizens in question were fired. The Canadian citizens in question are under investigation, as is appropriate. They are eminent scientists who lied to PHAC and misrepresented their actions.
These are eminent
and there were
scientists.
consequences. These individuals were fired and under investigation.
If I might
The fact that you are
Chair, I
not
would
achieving
suggest
your
that the
partisan
minister
ends
needs
is
to hold
not
his
my
questions as
concern.
well, Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Dr. Ellis.
He should be the one being investigated for crimes. Absolutely. And he has no clue where those scientists are. And just because they are accredited in Canada doesn't mean it's okay at all. Or the fact that it's just the way it was at the time is brutal. This, like I said, this is enough to topple a government. But Canada is not a serious country, apparently. So it's business as usual. The RCMP are investigating it. And we're going to throw more money at it. We're going to create another oversight. We're going to create more government with more contractors with another department to oversee absolutely everything. So nobody is ever held accountable. And then at the end of the day, when something bad happens, they all just point fingers at each other and then nothing ever gets done. And that is where we're at. Follow me on Substack and Spotify. All of you out there, like, share, and take care.